guys, welcome to another voiceover. My name is Akemi-chan, and for this turn's voiceover, I'm gonna be painting a Shego piece. It's from a pretty old school cartoon from Kim Possible. So this is, she is one of the villains, if you will. And I think I drew Kim Possible before. It was quite a long time ago. But I've never drawn Shego before. And you know, I saw this photograph, and it's somewhat like this. And I've always wanted to draw her, and I kind of figured, hey, that's actually a really good idea. Because you don't see a lot of I don't think a lot of back views for her, and I think that this would look quite nice on her, this concept. So I thought, yeah, let's go with it, because I like the idea. So I'm going with it, and yeah, I did use reference for this, because normally I probably wouldn't know how to paint this angle, so sketched it out, lay down the base color and stuff like that, so that we can just go ahead and start painting, basically coloring. So I have the sketch and the background. I have a few edits for the background. So this was the original color. I changed the color a little bit. I might play around with that a little bit after as well. It's not super set, but I'm thinking of doing a little bit of lighting from the top view to down, and warm tone from below to warm tone on the bottom, and then cool tone on the top for the lighting. Uh, Theoretically, that's what I am planning to do. Hopefully, I will be able to pull it off. Oh, here we go. I'm just going to paint, remove the cool tone on the bottom, so I can have cool tone towards the top, and then warm tone towards the bottom. Uh, that's what I hope would work. Hopefully it'll work. I might need to clean this area up a bit more, but yeah, that's the goal. Alright, so now back to her. So her outfit is green and black, so I'm gonna try to basically keep that theme throughout this piece. But of course, we're gonna have some smexy moments. Her skin tone is more green grayish. Let's try this color. Might be a bit too green. Yeah, it might be too green. Actually, on the cartoon, the color palette is more yellow. So I'll just go with that towards the top, and then have more of like a warmer tone towards the bottom, more almost like skin tone. Her skin is pretty pale, so hopefully I can make it work. The theory is that, or the idea of it is, I'm trying to get a nice transition between cool tone and warm tone. And as for her dress, I'm still not sure what material I want it to be, but I'm thinking I plan latex, but we'll see. This part will probably be darker too, since her back, this whole area is gonna be in the dark, in the shade. I'm gonna go ahead and start. Actually, let's take this, bring it down. Get started with the shadow and highlight. This part. Let's go ahead and I think I will play around the color a little later. Right now I'm just going to focus on the shadow and lighting. I'm going to gradually remove the lines as well. Sometimes, well, actually not sometimes, but they do get in the way a lot, so I tend to remove them pretty early on while I paint. But yeah, let's go ahead and shade up the back, and then I'm going to incorporate a bit more lighting and color edit, since this is probably not going to be the final color tone for her back, at least. So I'm using the reference as a guide for me to paint the pose, because it is pretty tricky. Pretty trippy. I mean tricky. Tricky. And then here. So interesting how at certain angles the backbone is not what you would expect, and the way the arm folds is not what you would expect either. At least when you start drawing it. It's a different story when you're looking at it, it will make sense, but once you start drawing it, it's a little bit different. For example, this bone should be higher from this angle. Pretty interesting. Let's see, probably bring that line in a bit more. So I suppose I'll just worry about the overall lighting after I make sure that the back anatomy is proper. And we're gonna have a bit of a strong shading around the shoulder blades, and probably I would need to bring this part. Just gonna bring it over a bit more. Somewhat like that. Let's go to the bottom. So yeah, this involves unzipping her skirt thing. So in the censored version, it'll probably be covered up, but I'm gonna paint out the spicy version first and then censor it later. Let me go ahead and grab that skin tone. I might change up the skin tone as well when I get to the editing phase for the color tone. Okay, let's go ahead and pick a shadow color. And I'll just bring this down. get a nice heart shape booty. Bring a bit of shadow there. A bit of line. We'll aim the line towards the upper area. And then we have the dress. I'll probably need to see what I can do with the dress in order to make it look a little bit more fabric-like and give it some more detail. Right now, the shading is looking flat, so I have to figure it out. Maybe some extra seam detail. And then on this part, let's go for a bit of lighting here. Towards the top and towards the bottom we'll have a bit of a rim light. Followed by a bit of wrinkling around the clothing. Bring this over a bit. I'm just going to try to contour the leg muscle as well while I'm at it. Go back and let's go ahead and select a light green, put it on multiply. And just darken the legs a little with a bit of, might be a bit too green. Let's go with a more grayish green. Oh, hold on. Let's go back here. Add a bit more shadow to the booty. Add a bit of shadow. Around here I'll be a little bit more careful. Let's add a, oh hold up, tiny bit of shadow here. And then we'll have black undies. Go back here. Just going to tone down the highlight now a bit more. Let's take this color. Gradually blend that out. Yeah, now the back needs a bit more work. Go back to the face. I'm going to readjust readjust based on the lighting. Let's go with something like that. So the face will be worked on a little bit more in detail later. But since it is a profile view, I think it might be a little bit easier. And as for the hair, I still need to think about whether I wanted to be more on the stylized side or not. I think I will maybe do more of a stylized look. Probably need to make the face a lot bigger, but I'm gonna have to readjust the hair at the same time if I do that. Like that or something. Go to the arms. Oh wait, hold on. Nope. Let's go top for the. Let's go for latex look. Sorry. I'll just do a rough, shiny texture for the gloves. But first, I think I'm going to, before I put the shine on, at least on the green glove area, I have to kind of shade it normally and then put down the shadow. Let's do this. Yeah, the elbow part is a little bit tricky and the reference doesn't really show it very well. I might have to probably find another way. I even tried posing with a 3D model, but this pose is just, it breaks the rig that I have, so cannot use it very well. They have been a bit more careful lately. Get a bit of fingers in this piece. Might even adjust the arm, bring it over a bit more. Maybe we can have a little pinky there, and then oh. Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. I see. She's wearing black gloves. On green. What's it called? Green. On green. Black glove on green glove. Let's go ahead and do that. Actually, you know what? Might not look that great. I think I'll just keep it all green. This makes it look a little bit more formal, I think. Yeah, I think that looks, it's passable for now. I will definitely refine the hand portion. Just bring this up a bit. bit. Let's paint the fingers. Okay. And once I have done that, I'm going to readjust it. Adjust it a bit more. Yeah, this foreshortening part is a bit tricky. I'm gonna have to flip the canvas a few times. But for now, let's bring this down a bit. For now, I'm going to try, just getting everything kind of started. I'm gonna give her some rough shape for the undie. Go back to the top layer. Adjust the back. Adjust the clothing part. The hair is kind of killing the silhouette over here, so remove the hair or move it over. Yep, need to see that silhouette on her. Now back to the hand. And I'm just going to, do a rough shape for the hand. Oh god, it's pretty, it's not very good. Oh, have to be careful here. Let's go. Switch up the hand a bit. And then over here on this finger. That should do it. Alright guys, I'm gonna go back to rendering the back a bit more. So this time I'm basically removing the lines, the sketch. I'm just gonna tilt it a bit. So now it's just about observation drawing basically, because I'm just gonna be looking back and forth at my reference and then basically trying my best to interpret it into this pose. And it's very interesting the way having the arm being pulled back like this has a different effect on the shoulder blades. Very interesting how it looks from this angle as well. Definitely something I don't think I've ever drawn in this manner, so it's kind of a fun little challenge for me. I'm just gonna try my best to um, render it out like the reference, and I'm planning to kind of ignore my original lighting composition that I have in mind. I'm just gonna shade it based on the reference, and then after you know it's looking proper, nothing weird looking, I'm going to then work on the lighting. I think that would be best. If it's like that, you know, I can make sure that everything is looking, nothing looking too weird, and I can just add the lighting difference after. Probably gonna still work on that skin tone while I'm at it. So for here, surprisingly, this goes up all the way like this. This part probably a little bit closer to this side too. And there's a distinct shadow around this area. And then emphasize just a little bit of fold here between the arm and the shoulder where she's twisting that arm up. Then we have a little bit of the muscle shown to twist this towards this direction, which probably would have never thought of. But it makes sense now that I think about it, because this muscle gets twisted that way. I think if I do similar poses like this a few more times, I'll probably memorize this how it would go basically, because yeah, oftentimes, you know, using a reference and just kind of painting similar poses also helps a lot with just learning in general, and you know, after a while you kind of get a hang of it, and you probably won't need the reference as much as you would have without knowing about like how the muscle twists and stuff like that. Okay, so render that part of the arm. Go back here. I'm just going to add a tiny bit of highlight here. Let's add a bit more green in the skin tone here, but not too much. And chest part, bring it down a bit more. I'm gonna put the dress halter later. There's a strong shadow around this area. Let's take this highlight, bring it there. There's like a interesting bit of indentation around this area. Take a bit of this right here, bring it down. Take a bit of the shadow. I'm just going to, in general, just bring that, smooth the shadow down all the way up, all the way down, sorry, all the way up. That's not what I meant to say, all the way down. I'm just going to try to also blend in some of the rough shading here. Probably need to bring this part in a bit. So I selected that portion of the back. I'm just going to bring the back in a bit more. Oh, hold on. And I'm gonna adjust the silhouette accordingly as well. Twist it that way. Hold on, whoops. Let's go ahead. Twist it that way. Extend this part. There we go. Save real quick. Shall we do another step? Let's see. Yeah, I think it's time to do another step. Copy, paste. Alright guys, let's continue. So, I did go ahead and find, I believe, is a pretty good reference for the skirt. Because it has, you know, that the curvature, the lighting that I'm kind of looking for. So I'm gonna pop it right there when I'm painting the skirt. There's two ways that I could potentially approach this. I can just basically grab this whole thing and kind of warp it to her and then paint over it. Or I could just observe and kind of just do an observational type thing and replicate this lighting on here manually. So I think that's what I'll be doing. At the same time, I can try to kind of look at here and then apply it to the glove as well. So that is the plan for that. Let's go back to her back. Oh yes, and I was going to flip the canvas. Save real quick. So after flipping the canvas, I'm kind of just observing for a bit. Let's take some time to observe. Observe and try to fix things based on the observation. Okay, now that I flipped it, I can kind of see a few things that I did not see before. So just some very, very small detail, like in the reference, the arm actually goes a little bit up. Just a little bit up. clean up while I'm at it. Oh, hold on. Let's continue to blend this out here. The shadow on the shoulder blade is actually a little bit more sharp towards the end there, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Take a bit of this. The shading here is a little different, so it cascades down a bit more softly. I wonder if I can put a bit of my own little bit of muscle indentation here. Get a bit of shadow here. No, I have to remove that. Might be a bit too much. Gonna grab this, bring it down. Might even have to grab the arm layer. Bring it over a bit. Man, this is definitely a very tricky pose. Let's go ahead and fix the lighting here. I have a feeling this side's kind of similar to that side. Can't really see what's going on in the reference, but I'm assuming that's so, because this arm is kind of tilted upwards a bit, like an extra amount. Maybe this side is also similar, and the shoulder actually tapers. Maybe it tapers off a little bit, and then the arm is actually, oh, hold on, kind of tilted upwards or something. Which means this arm actually goes up like this or something. Okay, now I'm just going to bring a bit of curvature back, especially towards the side here. Take that. I'm gonna bring in a bit of a warmer, oh no, I accidentally painted on the wrong layer. This whole part is supposed to be on the top layer. But yeah, I'm gonna bring a bit of the warmer shadow and get a bit of this happening. The curvature of the back, this is where, I guess, where the dimples are, kind of. And then going back to the bottom layer, and I will adjust it accordingly. So we're at the bottom, so what I'll do is I'm gonna start taking the colors from the reference and applying it here. So in the sensor version, it's gonna be a full skirt covering her backside, but in the spicy version, we will have this. Gonna start off with a bit of wrinkling. Let's go ahead and select that. This is the rim light around the skirt, so I'll just apply a bit of that to the outer edge. And I'm just gonna observe real quick, so we're gonna have a bit of shaded parts probably around that area, like that. And then when the leg is kind of pulled back a little, we have the stronger lighting here. I'm using the lasso tool for this step and isolating a bit of a chunk of that skirt. I'll add in a bit of folds real quick, and then I'll do that to the other side as well. And I see there's a lot of pulling here, so let's kind of replicate that a bit because there is a bit of pulling. And now I just have to figure out, like, which leg is this? I mean, which feet does this, I mean, which leg does this feet belong to? I originally just wanted to have a little bit of a heel, just to break up the composition a little, because if I just leave it like that, you know, I think a little bit of a leg, you know, if we see a bit of that, it would be a bit more interesting. I'm just gonna roughly render this out, which definitely needs a bit more detail a little bit later on, but for now, let's go ahead and give this a bit of shape. I probably should I probably should get a proper reference for this later. For now, this is the general idea I have. Yeah, it's not looking quite right, but I just want, you know, just to have a rough idea of what I want. Probably, yep, definitely need reference for that. Okay, I'm still trying to figure out which direction I should take the folds, these folds. Should I do it this way? Anyways, I'll just roughly put the folds on the other side as well. Let's say this leg is the one that's kind of pulling back a little towards the audience, and this leg is receding into the distance. And so I will need to also apply the same idea to the green fabric, the green latex fabric, which still kind of not sure how I'm supposed to approach it, but let's use this color, and I will emulate this side a bit. Let's go ahead and darken that whole side. Darken that whole side. Now I am thinking how to do the lighting on this side here. Maybe I could add a bit of reflective lighting from the environment onto the latex portion. I'm just thinking if that would work, and I guess it could work, but doesn't look all that great. I think I'm gonna have to go a little bit more in detail later on. So now that I got a general idea, I'm going to go in again and kind of play around with the latex shine positioning. I'm wondering if I can kind of give her this silhouette like a better look. I mean, a better curvature or something to make it look a little more, look a little better. I like to see it be a bit more curved to the composition. I want, yeah, basically a bit more curve. Like here you can see a bit more curve, maybe hugging her leg a bit better as well. I might need to move this over. Yes, over a bit more. If I do that, that means I have to go back into the leg portion and readjust that as well, which is okay with me. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna bring a bit of the warm tone from the back down to the bottom portion of her. And I have to be a little careful with the butt here because I have to be careful with how I render it. It can't be too airbrushed. I mean, it needs to be, the lighting needs to be, I mean the shading needs to be blended in real good. But at the same time, I have to maintain some sharpness as well. So I'm just gonna try my best at it, I guess. Get a bit more shadow up in there. Let's go with a bit more blue, or not blue, sorry, green. Let me borrow some of that. Put it right at the high points. And take this. I'm just gonna bring it in a bit more. Now I can do a little before and after. If we do a little before and after, you can see there's a bit more curvature to the leg, which is what I'm aiming for. So now gotta adjust the lighting because You know, I shaded this side of the booty. It's kind of not matching the other side, so we go back to the other side now and readjust. Bring some of the color from the back. Bring up the green part. And we will adjust. I'm just going to blend this part in. And we'll just take some of that, bring it over to the other side, reuse a bit of the same color tones here and there. Add a bit around this area. And I'm just gonna shade this part. Try my best to make sure this part is nice and not too smooth. Well, not too soft, not too harsh either. Grab a portion of the green. Portion of the green and readjust. After readjusting, I have to think about basically how I'm gonna render this part right here. Actually, let's take that, a warmish tone. We'll put it right the center here. Oh, wait. Basically, I'm just gonna experiment with where to position it. I don't know if I should shade the center now, because I do want to make sure that the lighting kind of hugs this part right here. Let's take this color right here. Just blend it in. Bring this down. I may try to go match the lighting here of this side, so grab a bit more. I mean, make that side a little darker. blend it out a bit, or blend it out with the smudge tool a bit. And I'll try to, I'm trying to figure out like how I'm going to do the lighting. Maybe I'll try this first. So I'm contouring the butt a little bit with a bit of REM light here. Go back towards the top area. Resume blending. Let's go ahead and blend this in here smoothly. Oh, let's do a little before and after. Before, after, just a little bit more shapely. And I'll probably worry about the color later on. The color, the tone for her later on. Take a bit of that. March down. I want to see what Photoshop thinks. Oh, okay, Photoshop thinks it's not too bad. So, see, not too much change when I do auto contrast. That's what I like to do sometimes, just to get Photoshop's opinion. What is the optimal amount of contrast with my piece? Bring the grain up a bit. Actually, should I bring the grain up? No, I will not bring the grain up. Okay. Alright, got the booty down. Let's slightly work on the arm portion. Also, I need to adjust the... maybe I'll have two parts for the hair. So this part, let's bring it down here. Hair. Oops. There's a few parts for the hair. Let's go back to the back. Bring it. I'm going to try to stabilize it a bit more. This part needs to be a little darker. That part is definitely in shadow, so darken it a bit more. Let's darken the face a bit more as well. Let's bring this here. Bring this here. Okay, you know what? Let's just make the hair layer kind of under the top layer, which is the back layer. Let me adjust the back. and flip. Alright, so after flipping, I'm going to, let's readjust the lighting for the back. This is one of the area where it's quite bright, and the second area is on the other shoulder blade, and this one I'm gonna bring it up a bit more, almost close, very close to that side. Let's go ahead and add a bit more shadow around this area. Bring the dress up, bring the dress in a bit more. And back to the other side. The back, it's a little, I keep saying it's tricky, but it definitely is. It's looking real Photoshop, but, I mean, not Photoshop, it looks real airbrush. I need to figure out a way to, make the back, soft, blended in and stuff, but not just Photoshop, I mean, airbrush looking. Maybe have a bit of sharpness. Let's do that. Alright, I'm gonna work on this a bit and I'll bring you guys back. But yeah, this is what we have after around an hour worth of work. Since this is tricky pose, it's gonna take a while to maybe adjust a bit. Adjust it while I work on it, and maybe move around the face too as well. Yeah. Welcome back, guys. So yeah, did a bit more work, and I have a slightly more clear direction I wanted to go to. So um, rendered out the butt a little bit more, and as well as the face primarily. Now this face was a little tricky. I was kind of flip-flopping between like a semi-realistic style and also a bit of inspired by the Disney 3D style, which I think that I want to go more towards that, the Disney-ish style. So while I was working on the face, I had this reference of Rapunzel on the right next to her face, and I adjusted the skin tone, although this is probably not the best skin tone to work from because uh, it was yeah, not the best. I might have to readjust it a little bit, but yeah, I had that reference, so I tried to kind of borrow elements from her face onto slap it onto Shego. And for the hair as well, I'm using a reference from Rapunzel's hair. I'm going to try to basically do more of a Disney style look for the hair and the face. And as for the shading, I'm also trying to see if I can kind of bring that Disney-esque 3D render for her as well, which is, you know, Disney films, I noticed they use a lot of, they have a very, very balanced rendering style, cool tone and warm tone. So hopefully I can do something similar. So that's why I was like, okay, her skin tone is a little bit more of like a yellow green base. So what would be the warm tone for that? That would make it look good because we can't just use any color. So yeah, it becomes a little tricky. So I think I'm gonna have to experiment quite a bit. Also, worked on the hands a little bit. So yeah, I was testing out the various poses. Okay, let's go ahead and start on that. So, still trying to figure out. Hmm. Still trying to figure out the color that I'm gonna have for her. Um, the skin tone color, because this is not cutting it for me. I think it could be better. So I'm gonna create a new group and play around with some various tones. Okay, let's go with I mean, I can just kind of replicate, let's say we replicate Rapunzel's skin tone or take reference to her or something something that is inspired by it. So they have a balance of cool tone and warm tone, so I'm gonna start off with cool tone. But for sure, I'm gonna follow how the face is structured, so I wanna just have a bit of that Disney-esque style in here. So I kind of borrow a bit of that. It's a little too dark right now, but we are going to slowly but surely. Oh, I feel like I can probably do like a rim light on the side. So I have the cool tone right now, and then we're gonna add the warm tone. But what would the warm tone be? Let's try. Oh, hold on. Go to color. Let's do. Let's kind of see how it will look with like a very pale skin tone. Let's see how that would look. Although her skin is more towards greenish, yellow-green. But I want to see how it would look with a balance of cool tone and warm tone. And this is my warm tone, and the cool tone would probably be, let's try this turquoise looking color. And we'll put the cool tone towards the bottom. And if that doesn't work, we'll do the reverse. And that's actually pretty interesting. But it is quite dark. Let's lower that. Oh, actually no. I'll remove some of the shadow color, shade color. But if I just remove it, instead of removing the shadow layer, I will reapply the highlight. But the highlight this time will be fairly warm tone. So let's try a variety of shades for the warm tone highlight. Instead of pale, instead of a more of a grayish tone, let's try this color. Oh, hold on. Might be a little too, yeah, let's try more of a beige. And I think what I'll do is basically play around with this color. Let's do this color. And I'll do the same on this side. Oh no, it's lagging. So that's gonna be my highlight tone. And I will do the same on the shoulder here real quick. So this is not permanent because I'm just gonna try on a few color variations for this. This might be a bit too much actually. Again, for the face, I'm following basically how they structured their face as a reference. So this would be the highlight. I think it might be a bit too yellow, so that's why we will try out a few colors. So the colors itself is a bit too much. I guess we have to tone it down, huh? Let's go with this. And let's focus on the rim light. So let's go with another warm tone. See how this look. How this will look. Bring it all the way down. Makes the butt kind of flat. I have to blend this out properly or it's gonna look flat. So there needs to be more shading around this area. take that color. Just gonna use a slightly brighter color and we'll just reshade it. Maybe this would be a little better. And maybe I could readjust it a bit. Let's bring a little bit of green. And maybe a bit more yellow. Bring this down. Let's take this color. And around this part, let's try to go more towards a warmer tone because usually, I guess I want to test it out how it would look with like a warmer tone, usually near the crevices of flesh. I don't know if it'll work for cool tone skin tones, but it's a little bit better if you have like a warm toned shadow. Actually, it depends on the situation, but we're just testing it out, basically. Might be a little bit too shiny. I mean, the skin tone might be a little bit too shiny, yep. In cases like that, it can tone it down. We can tone it down and also edit, play around with the palette. What? Oh, whoops. Where is... I'm thinking what if... Let's do this. What if we have a bit more warm tone saturation towards the bottom? Like that. And then I can play up the warm tone down below. Actually, hold on. I need to redo that. Let's go ahead, use color balance, screen. Tone it down. So I'll see if I can bring more highlight towards the bottom side. towards the bottom side. And then we'll have a cool tone slash, let's try this color. I just want to kind of try everything at this point. Not super happy with the skin tone, so I will literally try anything I can think of right now. So let's go with Rapunzel's like really messed up color that I created by adjusting her skin tone. Maybe we can make it work. It's not that bad. Oh, what is... Okay, that's why. Need to bring this... Okay, nope. Let's create a new layer. And paint. Blend everything in. And wait, and then I'm going to add some intense highlight. Now this intense highlight, let's try with this color. Oh, okay, that's not too bad. Try with the adjusted color from Rapunzel. And I will follow along the reference for her face as well. I want to have a very intense stream of lighting. Ooh, I like this. A bit of highlight on her eyelid. And let's... In here, I want to include a bit of highlight. Just follow along the shading for Rapunzel's face and apply it to her face. That way I can try to make it look a little more Disney, but yeah, or inspired by it. Add a bit of highlight underneath the chin. And let's take that, bring that in. Let's take a bit of this. Probably doesn't work as well. I'm trying to highlight her jawline, but sometimes it might be better not to do it, to be ambiguous. Let's take that, add a bit of highlight to the shoulder area, but I want to see if I can render it out and see if this would work. And put the collar on, the, what's it called, the choker, to frame the neck area. Merge down. Maybe adjust the proportion of the face as well. Maybe make the eyes a bit more, a little bigger. That might be a bit too much. I'll just keep it that way maybe. Okay, now back to the skin tone. I'm just gonna use that tone down here too. And on her chest, let's go with this. This is like a really intense lighting. Just trying to create some translucency as well with this green color here. Along with some intense lighting. Gonna have a pretty intense lighting around the side of the bust area. Doesn't work as well. Let's use a more grayed out green here. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I think that works. Kind of. It's not too bad. I'm just gonna flip now. Flip her. So, I'm doing a lot of paint overs. Holy crap. This is the phase where I basically try to rework the shadow. Sometimes it ends up working very well. Other times I need to rework it afterwards. So hopefully I won't need to do that. But the goal is to make this part of her more translucent. I want to see if I can go ahead and do that. Translucency, I think I can achieve it by just creating a bit more contrast and add more highlight into that contrast. And usually it's consists of more saturated tones, less grayed out tones, but more colorful tones. So I think I will try doing that. Let's gray out that green. Hey, let's bring a bit of blue in here. Maybe that will help. I don't know. Try it out. And let's go ahead and work on the booty here. So I want to try to see if I can make this leg right here kind of go forward a bit more. Let's see if I can add some translucency. So bit more translucency. Actually, let me use this color right here. Make this a little darker. Oh, yeah, I think I need to change up the shading. Actually, maybe something like this. This side definitely needs to be a little darker. I'm just gonna make it a little darker and have that more of this color. Let's take this. And then up here, let's try this tone, followed by this tone. Hmm. And towards the bottom area, I'm gonna try to play up the highlight, so I'll be really increasing the contrast on the green latex portion for her dress. That's kind of my only way to just make the side a little bit more extra intense. Let's try this with a fleshy tone. Let's go here. And I guess I'll be sticking with like a saturated warm tone for the shadow around this area, just to create more of a translucent skin look. I think I can get away with it, even though, I mean, her skin is just pale and more towards the yellow and green variety, so I can just maybe add a bit of that in there whenever I can. Oh yes, a green skin undertone. But she is just quite pale in general. Also, I think I'll just aim for that. Her undie. I think this is looking a little better. Let's bring up the highlight shade towards this side. But I have to remember that the arm should be still quite tight around this area. But I can try to add highlight underneath the arm. I'll have to reverse shade this part. Hmm. I think it might work. It's just really messy right now. reverse shading it, that is. So basically changing the shadow and highlight positioning around. Add a bit of highlight around this area. I'll just stop it around this area. Because this side will still have a bit more of a greenish hue for her skin tone. Hopefully this ends up working out, I'm not sure. I'm just coloring it and hoping for the best. Or putting down my idea, hoping for the best. I need to adjust the latex. Yeah, we need to make sure it's bright enough. And we'll have a warm undertone to them. Actually, should I make it a warm undertone? Yeah, let's do it. Because technically it is a warm undertone. I think if I maybe modify the background to complement the green, might be better too. I kind of just slapped on a background to work with, so maybe I'll need to change it up a bit. Let's test out some of these filters and see if I can find one that I like. Let's go to normal. Also, this filter sometimes is hit or miss as well. Sometimes, you can't really find any good ones. I'll just, I forgot which setting it was on. Hmm. This is without the big chandelier. Hmm. Let's still blur this. Gloss blur. Hmm. Yeah, I need to play around with the background a bit more. And also solidify the face a bit more as well. She needs to stand out. She needs to stand out a lot more too. Yep, I will have to think about it. Alright guys, let's continue. So, I think we'll just render out our idea a bit more. So, I think what I'll do is clean some of this area up. So the plan is to continue to edit or just mock edit the lighting, especially this area. I'm gonna follow the lighting I have on the skin tone. I'm just going to do the same to the corset. take a bit. Oh wait, that's green. So for the darker color, take this. Let's add a bit of warm tone right here. I'm going to use the lasso tool this time to speed things up. So for the hand, I'll just roughly sketch out how I want it to have her kind of lay her hand like this. Oh, I don't think it's coming across very well, but I will spend extra time to make this a little better looking afterwards. But for now, I would like to copy paste. Just want to do like a establishing rough mock-up of how I want the color to lay, and in general like how the lighting will look. I'm assuming that it's gonna get a pretty bright color right up here as it catches a lot of the chandelier color, and this is also a high point to the glove, so it's gonna get a very intense amount of highlight and contrast with the shadow. I think that should be good. I'll also have the same on the skin tone up here. Let's get a nice intense lighting. And at the same time, I will be also slowly rendering out the arm. So I'm just using a lot of thinking a lot about how I'm gonna go about switching the shading. So flipping the highlight and the shadow. And so, you know, looking at the reference now, I'm just basically, okay, that's where the highlight is. I have to flip that and put it on the opposite side while maintaining the tones that I have going on. Let's take a bit of that. I'm just gonna borrow colors from below now. Gonna have to emphasize the what's it called, the shoulder blades. Yes, that's what it is. Why did I forget? But yes, exaggerate the shoulder blades. Blend in. Blend in the skin tone, and yeah, it's getting a little soft because I am using a rather soft brush to blend stuff in, so I have to compensate, balance it out with some lasso tool action to make sure, it's not too soft looking. I'm gonna add some additional details to the back. Maybe emphasize on some of the back muscle. And also still keeping some of this area sharp. Let's take a bit of this color. I'm just borrowing some of the skin tone color and put it on the collar. So, gonna emphasize the line of the back. And over here, I have to remind myself to paint the translucency. So just telling myself, okay, I have to make it high contrast, but also using, save real quick, at the same time using high saturation colors. What if I use a bit of like a fleshy tone right here as a buffer? If I do that, then I have to take a bit of this color. I have to kind of dull out some of this tone on the shoulder blade, because I need the audience to focus on the translucency of the arm part and the chest part over here. And in order to make it stand out, the other parts of her can't be competing. So I try to lower the brightness of the side and make the side the focal point, and to make it even more saturated, a bit more intense as well. And speaking of intensity, I'm gonna have to go here, and you guessed it, we will need to dull it out, make it grayed out a bit more in order to play up the intensity of that side. That side is gonna be the side that's facing the light the most. So all the parts that is kind of overlapping it, I'm thinking, making it more grayed out. Ooh, okay, this part is gonna be a little tricky. Let's take a bit of this. Add a bit of slight shine. Let's go over here. I'm gonna add my shadow here. And basically render out the glove using our more muted green. Well, actually I think this might end up working in my favor. I can kind of hide the fingers a bit. So I end up flipping her and worked on the face a little. So I tried to make the face just a little bit more translucent using the method, just a bit more contrast in some of these areas. Although I think I should kind of want to try adding a bit of the skin tone. I think that's what I'll do actually. Let's go for more of a like a blue tone. I think I'm gonna try doing that. So take this color, bring it maybe around here with a bit of this color. I'm gonna follow this example. So let's paint her nostrils with a warm tone to create a more translucent effect. And I'm gonna highlight her the side here with another warm tone, the shoulder with another warm tone. And I'm just looking at the reference here so that I can basically, oh shoot, basically use as a reference for ears. I am trying to go for a more Disney-like style, so might as well kind of paint a little similar to the style. Just gonna paint a very soft jawline. I'm going to borrow some of the colors as well, except instead of blue, I'm gonna use a bit of a warmer tone. Maybe I should be using blue. Let's do that. I'm gonna borrow some of that color. I'm going to softly fade in the hairline. So basically gonna render the hair a little bit similar to Rapunzel's hair. It's gonna be soft with some detailing. And then followed by a bit of highlight. So I'm gonna go for more of like a green undertone for her hair. So I'm gonna try to use a bit of green and then yellow as well for the highlight portion. And let's borrow a bit of the blue. I'll also be using a bit of blue in there as well, incorporate it in there, and then a bit of the red tone. Just going to solidify the shading. And yeah, she looks like she's got a bit of a, uh, need to give her a bit more hair on the side here. I want her to have a fairly big sweep here. Add a bit of shadow around the shoulder part. This is before, after. I'm just gonna kind of use her as a guide. I want to have that type of face for her, so her jawline should be a bit thinner. There's something that is not fitting very well. I'm gonna flip the canvas and see if I can figure it out, basically. Maybe I can't have a jawline. If I emphasize a jawline, it's maybe it's throwing it off a little, maybe. Maybe warp the face a bit. Warp it upwards. Nope. Never mind. I tried. But I think I will kind of tone down the jawline a bit. This is before, after. Might need to maybe play around with the color. Trying to make the face a bit more translucent, so I'm just testing out. Testing it out. Let's take this color. Oh, add it towards the bottom. Yeah, maybe I add a bit more of this neon green towards the bottom. Maybe that'll make the face look a bit more translucent. I can experiment with how strong I want it to be. This might be a bit too much. It does make her face look more translucent though, I will have to say, so maybe that's the way to go. And then I'll make the this part of her a little darker. As a contrast to the face and all. Let's go ahead. Let's do another edit. Merge down. Let's do that. Merge down. So before, after. It has a bit more, the lighting is a little different. I think the lighting is more interesting. Well, if I'm not happy, I can always do a little in between of both versions. Think now we're going to basically slowly add in more and more contrast in some of these areas. So on to part 2. Copy these areas, and basically I'll slowly increase the contrast, which is just to make the brighter areas brighter and darker areas a little bit darker. So gradually I'll do that. I'm working on specific parts, especially those parts that is already brighter. So I've already made them brighter, so I'm just going to slowly increase the intensity. Let's take a bit of this color. Take that. Use this as shadow. Gradually, we'll blend this in. Actually, let me use the erase tool and not just erase parts of the additional highlight and make it blend in. Maybe I can start adding a bit of texture as well. So this is the back indentation. Add a tiny bit of highlight here, where the dimples, where I plan to add some back dimples. And something like that. Oh yes, and then the butt section, I'll just erase parts of it. And here, let's use this color. Take that. I'm just gonna try to give a bit more form to the side of the booty. Oh, that's too much. Borrow that color, bring it to this side as well. Oh, and basically just keep the yellow highlight towards the bottom half of the form. Delete and just kind of clean up while I'm at it. I'm going to add a bit of shadow around this area. It's a little messy, but it also helps create a bit of texture. And I'll also be adding some of the kind of like reflection from the background, or just kind of imply it, you know. Oh god, it is messy. I'm going to remove some of what I've done. Let's go. I'm gonna be borrowing some of the color from here, because I think it actually looks quite good what I have up there, so I will be bringing it down below too. Yes, I'll just keep that part. Add a bit of shine there. So yeah, before, after. Gradually bring more highlight towards the bottom, and then we'll slowly incorporate it. Let's lower the opacity a bit. Merge down. Let's do it again. So before, after. And before that it was like this. So now it's like this. And the good thing about this, I have two versions, so I can even incorporate parts of the older version onto the newer version. But yeah, in general, it's a lot of experimenting. But yeah, I will work a little bit on this off camera and bring you guys back, and hopefully it will look a lot better.